I just got back from a bachelor party in New Orleans. I was out there for a few days, almost a week. It was a great time, from Bourbon Street, hanging on the strip, casino, hand grenades, if you know, you know. And while I was out there, no laptop, no sales calls, and I closed 4 clients, all right? And I really want to be able to break down how this kind of happens and how having the right ecosystem can really set this up to be a possibility for you inside of your own business. Because right now, if you feel like you've been kind of showing up and clients aren't really coming in, things have been kind of falling short. Like I said, I just want to really make sure that you have an understanding of kind of the differences that have just allowed this kind of stuff to be possible for me. Like, I went out there not feeling like the business is going to take a hit. Like, oh my goodness, how am I going to step away? Where that was how it was for a long time. I think it just comes from having really a few key assets kind of in place, to be honest with you, and assets related to your core ecosystem when it's all said and done. And really, when I think about, even 3 of those 4 clients that joined, they had never spoken to me before, right? Spoken to myself directly, if you will. And then really, once again, one of them was a buyer that came into my world of those 3. So somebody actually bought something, and then, well, I guess 2 of them, but 3 of the ones who didn't have a call with, or didn't have any kind of, 3 of the ones that didn't have a conversation with. One of them was a buyer. 2 of them were free leads that came into my world, right? So people who didn't even buy anything come to my world. If you know about me, I'm all about creating these self-funding client engines, having it so that people can come in with paid ads and make it to where we're not having to lose money on paid ads at the same time, because we're having our low ticket buyers fund our complete ad spend there, and then allow it so that we're getting clientele on the back end, it becomes full profit. So having this system set up is just, for one, extremely wise to have in general, but 2, it's giving me the opportunity to keep this system rolling on autopilot while I'm away. This is a big reason why people are always talking about, they want to do organic, they want to stay posting content as the main focus. You have to, once again, I was out having a great time with my friends. Like, I didn't have my family with me there. I love to bring them back, honestly, too. That was my first time in New Orleans. But like, I didn't have to worry about posting content. I think that's one of the things that, at least for myself, I've known, even if maybe I come off as an influencer just because you're seeing me on YouTube or something like that, but the reality is, I don't want that lifestyle. I don't want to have to not feel like I'm present and just recording content and recording videos for the sake of content while I'm in a lifestyle situation, right? When I'm doing this, I'm showing up just sharing my experience, sharing things I'm going through, sharing what I'm doing. I love documenting those things, but there's a time and a place for it. And I don't want to be doing that when I'm out having, celebrating life, celebrating love, with my friends out in person there, right? So I want to crack into a lot of good stuff here today to show you what it takes to kind of make that possible for yourself and how simple it can be. The reality here is that coaches are obsessed with new traffic, shiny new lead syndrome, right? Shiny lead syndrome. I talk about this all the time because I feel like so often we're so focused on, hey, I might have some leads in my world, but they're not buying, they're not this, they're not that, and I feel like I just need to go and get more. And I'm a firm believer that you absolutely always need to get new clients in the door, new leads in the door. Always want new clients coming through, but you need new leads into your world for sure. But don't overlook the leads that have been following you. Like the 2 that I mentioned that were just leads that never paid me a dime until they became clients, where one was a paid in full, one was a payment plan as far as the client side. For them, they never bought a thing from me, right? They just opted into a free thing. And that's where, even honestly, I hear a lot of talk, and these are just marketing stances the same way that all of us have them. How people are like, don't give free value and don't nurture and all these things. And I think that people don't realize that, it's not even that I totally disagree with that, because in my core, I do disagree, I guess, based off of how I operate. But the reality is, I do believe that they are also nurturing through channels that they're basically just not calling it nurturing, right? By constantly showing, like, I know one person out there, they're constantly showing up selling all the time. Now, and they're talking about how they don't give free value, all these things. Well, you're giving free value showing how you operate, and you're giving free value, like even showing up to sell, you're still giving value in a certain way that way. So I think that is understanding that these free leads that are coming in, right? They are great, but at the same time, don't overlook the leads that are in your world. Now that they've come in, you have them to market to for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, years and beyond. I was talking about it in a circle call yesterday with my clients, how there's some people that come to my world. I started running ads really consistently back in late 2021, and I have leads that are still coming to my world who first opted in early 2022. And it's crazy to think that, but it happens because of me continually showing up, saying the same things, keeping the same message. I haven't lane switched like crazy. I'm still in the same industry, still helping people doing the same core thing when it's all said and done. And so that's where, if you're coming into this for the long run, you've got to understand that people are watching. People are joining you, and the timing just may not be right. But that doesn't mean you want to go ahead and just completely move on to everyone else and forget about them, because you're leaving a ton of money on the table if you're doing that. And the reality there too is just that every month, like, think about it this way: you're spending money if you're spending money, if you're investing in paid ads. You're spending time if you're investing in content, right? And you're doing all these things, and you're putting in all this energy, whether it's dollars, time, and you are just basically throwing that energy away. Where these are valuable resources we've got in hand here, right? So we want to make sure that we actually have a way to recoup that energy that we put in. I'm all about using energy to build assets. We don't want to, when you're using energy for one-time things, that's why things like sales calls one-on-one, these aren't bad things, but if that's where all of your energy is going into, you're not giving yourself any true leverage. And that's one huge thing I want to really tackle for you in today's video, to say the least. What's going on? I'm Justice Severin. I'm over here making YouTube videos for you every week for online coaches, creators, everything in between, just to really make sure you can go ahead and create a wildly profitable personal brand, leveraging some kind of self-funding client engine. All right, so today's video, I want to crack right into that. If you're new, definitely go ahead, comment new down below. I want to see your name pop up. And if you're coming back, you like this stuff, all right? Come on now, man. Hit that subscribe button. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Just soak up the video and do what you got to do. So I want to really have this hit home on what actually happened, right? So I show up. I'm getting to the airport, right? Flying out. I'm over here in Boston, flying out to New Orleans, right? Meet up with them. Great friends. I meet up. We have this awesome kind of like Airbnb mansion kind of situation. It's like it's got kind of connected to a hotel. Real cool situation, right? Great people. And I'm just there enjoying, like I said, we took a swamp boat tour. I'm out there going to the casino. Great food. I had so much gumbo and jambalaya. I had some good drinks while I'm out there. It was just a really good time. And in the meanwhile, and then I guess, fast forward, then heading back home heading the airport, jetting back, and here I am back with family again. And so in the meanwhile, while all of this is happening, like I said, no laptop there, I am closing clients. And this is the thing that a lot of people talk about. It's like, talk about it, don't talk about it, be about it. They talk about it, but they're not actually, they haven't really found a way to make it happen. And a large part of that is because they don't know how to sell without being around, right? There's no doubt that having sales calls is a very productive thing to do, right? It's like, it can really speed up the sales cycle, all these things. But I want to show you yet again here how powerful it is by having your ecosystem do the work for you. Right, one of those buyers that came through, they bought a low ticket thing from me 3 days before, right? And then 2-3 days later, they became a client. And that was one of the clients I closed while I was sitting in the airport, right? I'm sitting there, literally sitting there at Logan Airport in Boston. I got myself a burger, and then I'm about to board the plane, and I see a ding come through, and lo and behold, and so that was how the first client came through over this. And that is a person where I didn't get on any call with them, right? My AI chatbot did 99% of the work, right? And that's where I say that, where it did a lot of the legwork, if you will, on the conversation side. But really where the work was handled was I had my content doing it, or she bought something from me. The person, I already had an onboarding call with them. They told me that the lead magnet I had was powerful. They said the testimonials I had inside were powerful. And so it's understanding how to create these assets and making it, I talk about this all the time, you want to make it so that people just stumble upon these assets, stumble upon these resources that you're laying out for them. That's how you need to have it feel. Because and that's the part of the problem with sales calls, is that there's no stumbling happening. They feel like they're being sold to. It feels aggressive, to some folks, if you will, there too. And if you can really orchestrate a process that allows this to happen without all that, it's, I think, the way to succeed in 2026 and beyond, to say the least. And even with that being said, I talk about this with my clients all the time. There's a difference between buyers and leads coming into your world. I just broke down, I just described to you, that's someone who's a buyer. They bought a product of mine, right? I think they ended up spending a little over $100 with me, just low ticket products. These low ticket products, you don't want to have it where you're giving your time away, right? In order to deliver on those, right? So that's what they got there. And then conversation happens, emails are happening, they're digesting the information, they're seeing, and this is the other thing too. You have to understand that knowing your avatar, having a clear message, having a clear direction of what even your high ticket offer solves. It's so critical up front because then you can have a clear understanding on the front end of who your marketing needs to speak to. Because the clearer that is, that's what makes it where now when someone's going through, if any, plenty of people go through my stuff, right? But some people go through it and they're not the ideal fit. So they're going to read this stuff and they're going to say, all right, this is cool, but I'm going to move on. And that's totally fine because I'm not trying to sell to everybody. If you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. I am making resources, I'm making assets, I'm making content for coaches out there who are looking to scale up a high ticket offer, right? And they want to do it in a way that they basically haven't been able to figure out yet, right? They want to do it in a way that they see is different, a way that they see works, different than something they've tried, right? Because a lot of people I know they're on the content hamster wheel. They've potentially tried ads. They've done all these things, but they don't have a way to grow in a way that's sustainable, profitable, and doesn't burn them out, right? And I think that's why I'm always talking about this kind of sustainable lifestyle business. You can grow, hypothetically, even if you're retired, right? I love what I do as far as coaching goes. I do enjoy making content like this. Yet again, I don't want to do it when I'm out enjoying life, having fun. That's the big difference there. So now I talk about this with my clients all the time. There is a difference between buyers and leads. Okay? And I say this too. For me, I view it as there's a larger gap from the person who goes from $0 to $1 to a person who goes from $1, let's call it $100, just to put a big number out there. $0 to $1 is a large difference. That's the difference between someone who has pulled out their credit card. They have said, yes, I will pay to learn more. Then someone who's done $1 to $100. Those are, once again, I'm not even discounting the fact that someone who has spent $100 with you versus $1, I do think that that's a better lead, a better buyer, better lead, whatever, if you will, there too. But let's look at it for what it is. I also know that people who show up and pay money to you, they are better leads. And so for us, we're optimizing to have where basically 5% of our buyers, these buyers mean basically they probably bought anything low ticket from us, and pretty much usually low ticket. And that 5% of them, so 1 out of 20, will turn to a client. And I see it with leads a lot of the time that really 0.5%. So 1 out of every 200 leads that come through. When you start to understand the game in this way, when you start bringing in volume, and this is what's important too, and you understand the mentality that I'm teaching you right now, that nurturing is important, that you don't want to forget about the people who come into your world, this is what allows you to just really kick up those percentages drastically. Last month alone, I actually had 8% of my buyers come in and go into clients there, right? And as I just broke down for you, I had, excuse me, I had 2 leads who came in, didn't buy anything, and became clients, right? So this is the reality that starts to kick in there, right? The other 2 technically bought something as well too, but when you really are setting the business up in a way like this, it's going to help you stand out because you're able to stick around longer. One of my best advantages I have is something that feels like I'm doing completely just because of existing. And that's because I've been around for longer than a lot of people. And when I say a lot of people, I say it because people are popping up every day inside of the coaching space. So people have been here for, even if it's, a year, 2 years. That's a long time, but it's not 5 years, 6 years like I've been. People have been in for 2 months, 3 months. That's the majority. Majority of people have been here for 90 days, a year. 90 days to a year is where the majority are living, and then they get out. Just by being able to be around is powerful. But then adding in these nurture elements is what's going to help you to increase the conversion rate on the leads that are coming into your world versus just having buyers come into your world. Let's make this real for a second and show you how this kind of appears in the self-funding client engine. So last month, I actually generated about 1,400 leads. 98, 99% of those were paid ad leads, right? Paid leads there. Rest were organic. Then from that, I generated about 140 or so clients. So let's do the math. Let's call it 1,250 leads remain, right? So out of the 1,400, about around 150 became customers, 1,250 are left. And so if we view it this way now, there is a large opportunity with those prospects, right? Because there's a bunch of people there who have not bought yet. And that is the difference. And so that's where I choose to hang my hat, because I understand, and I say this humbly, but you can have this too with everything that's at your disposal. I am a pretty solid marketer, right? And it's not hard to do that these days, because even just continuously showing up day in, day out, that is going to set you apart so much more. I say this all the time. Some people are going to buy from Jimmy. Some people are going to buy from Justice. The reality is, me and Jimmy, let's just say we teach the same thing. Some people are going to vibe with me more than him, and vice versa. Some people vibe with Jimmy more than me. I'm willing to take that loss because I know that my tribe is out there waiting for me. And so that's where, but the only way I'm going to give myself a chance to convert them is if I am showing up consistently. And so that's how we need to have within your business, where you want to give yourself a chance to increase your conversion rates. You need to understand that, look, and here's the reality too. You think about this, let's just say 1,500 leads came in to make math easier. That's 1,500 this month. Another 1,500 next month. That's 3,000, right? Add 2 more months on top of that. That's 6,000, right? Add 2 more months on top of that. That's 9,000, right? So 6 months, 9,000 leads come in. Like, do you not believe that you can continuously start to convert these people as they stick around your world? And here's the thing too. A lot of people will tell me, it's like, hey, well, a lot of those leads are trash. I don't need 100% of them to be gold. I just need a tiny percentage. That's the game we're playing here. When you have a high ticket offer, you don't need the masses. You just need some of the bigger fish in there, right? And we don't even need big fish, but if you think about your high ticket offer, I don't need all of them to get my low ticket offers. Only a percentage of them, you know? I covered about 80% of my ad spend last month just from my low ticket buyers. So now you see the profit margins that kick in when I'm talking about the high ticket offers now behind the scenes is that coming in, right? I double-digit clients that came in last month. All that's coming off of the back end of the work that I've been doing to nurture my audience and have a really strong sales process and ecosystem to convert everything else in the back end. Now, let's take a second and just talk about even like what those assets are within the ecosystem, right? So for myself, I basically have it where one of the big things, like I even mentioned, and this was really big for me while I was out in New Orleans, right, was having an AI chatbot. Right, so I've trained an AI chatbot to basically handle inbound leads that come in from ads, and that has been such a powerful, powerful play since I brought that in. I've done, if I can, I'll link a video to it later on, but I've done some trainings around that. But the reality is, having that go is it is now helping to pre-qualify leads, and then, but here's the thing, it's not just enough to have that. You need to have it where, and this is where people who are only focusing on sales calls lose. You need to have it where you have pre-qualifying happening, and then you have assets that you can send people to that actually show them your offer, show them what makes you different, and then have your offer broken down in a way where it's not just some crazy long sales funnel page that's, you know, just saying all the this, that, and the other about why your offer is amazing, why they should work with you. You need to have it where you stand out, and by having even, like I said, the way that those two things pair together, my AI chatbot and my offer, or my offer and the video that kind of has the offer and things that go with it, that really helps us stand out a lot there as well too. You check out my video last week, it breaks down my offer there. It's like it can be so impactful when you have that stuff dialed in, right? And then from there, I have my retargeting ads, right? So these are things that also run completely passively. And honestly, I have retargeting ads that are going, and I also have just my day-to-day ads that are bringing in new leads to my world, new buyers into my world. Those two together are nurturing my audience. This is what I mean. People talk about how you shouldn't nurture. Meanwhile, they're running ads consistently. That's nurturing them. Even if the ads are selling something, it's still them showing up over and over and over, sharing the brand, showing the voice, showing their face, right? This is what can be so powerful there. Email marketing. I send out an email once a day. It takes me 10 minutes, right? Sometimes it takes me 2 to 3 minutes. When you're doing these things here, it's so simple. And some of the things, you know, maybe setting up a chatbot's a little harder. Like that's obviously why it's hard for me to do a YouTube video kind of breaking down the nuances. We teach that in branded clients behind the scenes, but having that, having the ads, having email marketing going out. I have free lead magnets going out as well too, low ticket offers. My retargeting ads show client testimonials that are popping up. It's all these things that are doing the trust building for me before someone ever even sees my offer, right? Before I ever even show up. And that's the ecosystem at work. That's the meat at play that really helps to set me apart and give me the opportunities to be on Bourbon Street, you know, drinking a whiskey and ginger, you know, hanging out, not paying attention to anything, and close a client, right? Because that's what's happening behind the scenes. Pre-qualifying, handling objections. These are, like I said, my lead magnets having testimonials inside of them. It's everything playing together at once. Don't lie to yourself. Or don't, you know, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you it's one thing. If there was one thing that it is, it's the collective ecosystem that's doing the work. And that's why really for all of this, it's a mindset shift. It's understanding that you need to stop focusing on one lead at a time. It goes right back to the shiny lead syndrome. The more that we can start to stop seeing your list as a number, the better it will be for you long term. Start looking at it as a true pipeline, right? It's like a lot of people who are big, that's the benefit of folks who are big into sales calls. They're all about their pipelines and CRMs. You don't need to be using it just for that. You don't need to be viewing it just like that. You can view it as people are coming into your world, they're going through different stages, right? There's people who are just finding out about me. These are new folks in my world. There are people who are now starting to, they grabbed an asset. They're starting to go through maybe another asset. They're moving down the line in stages. There's some people who are now, I've gotten my AI chatbot to talk to them. I've gotten them to reply to an email. I've gotten them to raise their hand a little bit more. That's another stage in it. I got somebody to now view my offer doc, watch my video that breaks down my offer. That's another stage. And now people continuously move. And the more that you can add automation, passiveness within these steps, it gives you the flexibility to do exactly what I'm talking about here today. And this is like, yes, I'm tying this right now to me being out in New Orleans, enjoying time with my friends. But the bigger picture here, day to day, I'm a girl dad of two, right? I'm a husband. I got my beautiful wife, Lauren. I can be out with them and these things can still happen, right? As I'm saying that, I remember driving to a party and literally I got there. I was driving, right? I don't text and drive, right? I was driving, I got there. As soon as I get up, we were walking over, and I think just before I got out of the car, I saw a ding and a new client came through. Like, these are the things that happen when you stop viewing people as just leads and you start to understand, or just leads on a name on a list, and understand them as human beings who can move through your system and are giving you the chance to win them over day in and day out. Right? You can't control when someone is ready, but you can control what you get in front of them. And that's what consistently nurturing does, is by consistently giving you opportunity to get in front of them and warm them up over time. Take this stuff, lean in. You know, if I could leave you with one massive last message, it would be that simplicity wins. Simplicity over hustle, right? The simpler you can keep things. That's why I'm really big on having, one leverage flagship offer, right? One main traffic source when you're really getting things moving, right? One main nurture sequence. What you don't need is a complex funnel sequence and a whole content library of stuff posting all the time here. You just need the right pieces. Maybe one strong AI layer, one consistent email going out every day. Right? I don't even, a lot of times, I think it's been like 3 weeks since I posted on my Instagram. That kind of stuff isn't necessary if you understand what the ones are that you need to tap into. Because the simpler it is for you to show up and stay consistent with it. This is the problem with people who are focusing on content too much, is because now they have to keep pumping out content all the time. That's not simple. Is it complicated? No, but it takes a lot of time, And I think that's what makes it not simple. And so I think that's where understanding that simplicity is always going to get you where you want to get to that much faster. And so understanding that for me, it's like having one core lead magnet that's winning, one core low ticket offer that's winning, one core high ticket offer that's bringing in clients, and an ecosystem that supports all of it. So you can now know, but that's the big thing. Too many people have too many different offers and things. You need to know exactly what the main goal is you're trying to get folks to. I always tell people, you have to know if I could send people to one place, where would it be? And the answer to that question is understanding what is going to give them the highest possibility of becoming a client when they walk through that door. A lot of people have too many doors, and so they can't look at the data to give them a good answer. That's what we want to understand. The goal is to set our world up so we can find that door, and so that you can go to New Orleans, you can go to Miami, you can go to Italy, you can go wherever you want, and you can have the ecosystem working for you, growing your business. That's the point. All right, so like I said, soak this stuff up. Glad to see you here watching this. Like I said, I'll link up a video above, just like I mentioned too earlier there. Like I said, having a strong AI chatbot is huge. Having an understanding of your offer and how it can really help to serve others in a way where you can be completely passive. Like I said, I'll go ahead and link up that for you above there, just so you can really soak it up and understand how I'm doing things so you can implement inside of your own business. All right, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed my outside view with me. It's a beautiful day here in Massachusetts, but until next time, I'll see you later.